Very good morning, dears. This video will explain about the transplantation immunology. This transplantation, what is the transplantation? Graft or transplant. It is transfer of living cells, tissues and organs from one part of the body to the another, or from one individual to the another. This is how we can call as a transplantation. What is the need for the transplantation? Why should we have to go for the transplantation? Many needs in the humans, like damaged organs or non-functional organs, can be transferred from one person to the another person, whether it will be the live or otherwise in the dead condition. So Alexis Carrel, in upcoming slides we will see the great events in the history of transplantation. So Alexis Carrel belongs to the French scientist, worked on vascular suture and the transplantation of blood vessels and organs, and he got the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1912. Peter Brain Medawar, discovery of acquired immunological tolerance. That means the graft reaction is an immunity phenomenon. In 1950s, induced the immunological tolerance to skin allografts in mice by neonatal injection of allogenic cells. This was discovered by the Peter Brain Medawar, and for this he got the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1960. Joseph A. Murray, discoveries concerning organ transplantation in the treatment of human diseases. In 1954, the first successful human kidney transplant was performed between twins in Boston. Transplants were possible in the unrelated people if drugs were taken to suppress the body's immune reaction. For this, he got the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1990. George D. Snell and Jean Dussert. Everybody knows this, isn't it? Discoveries concerning the genetically determined structure on the cell surface that regulate the immunological reactions. That means histocompatibility genes. Yes, HLA gene, human transplantation antigens. Those things were discovered by the George D. Snell and Jean Dussert. For this, they got the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1980. In earliest history, skin grafting for reconstruction of severed nose, done with patient's own skin. That means Sustrata Samhita. So these are the practice where we have in the earlier itself. Now we are entering into the definition of the small words like terminologies: transplantation, implantation of non-self tissue into the body. That is the process of taking cells, tissues or organs, which is called a graft, from one part or individual and placing them into the another. The donor, the individual who provides the graft. Recipient or host, the individual who receives the guest. Isn't it? So donor is the individual who provides the graft. Recipient or host means the individual who received the graft. So methods of transplantation. There may take place between the different parts of the same organism, that we called as the autografting. That is within an individual, from thighs to the nose, or chest to the nose, or arms to the nose, or facial plastic surgery. For that purpose we will do this autografting. Different organism of the same species we called as allografting, isn't it? And different species from like monkey to human, or pig to human, like that, that we called as a xenografting. That is between the two different species, that we called as a xenografting. And also the classification will be based on the genetics. Genetic basis is naming different types of grafts. Self to self, that is the autograft. One individual to the another, isograft, that is the identical twins. Both are genetically similar. But grafts between two genetically non-identical members of the same species, which is called as a allograft. Other names in the terminology, like which can be stored or fresh, or transplants may be living or dead, as I said. Live grafts like kidney, ear, also called as a vital grafts. Non-living like bone, artery, all those things will be can also transfer from one person to the other. Static or structural grafts like face corrections, nose correction, like that also is possible. Classification of transplants based on nature of organs like kidney, liver, heart, bone marrow, skin, on basis of anatomical site like orthotrophic, heterotrophic. Orthotrophic means the skin grafting. Heterotrophic graft on abnormal site, example thyroid gland in subcutaneous region. In that region, if you do the transplantation, that will be the heterotrophic. Okay, heterotypic graft. The general information about the immune system rejection. Often a transplanted organ is not identified by the immune system as a tissue of the organism. It can be attacked and destroyed. It won't analyze whether it is a self cell or the non-self cell. No, it won't at all analyze. If it is not matching, immediately our immune system will go and attack and destroy. Against this effect, patient have to swallow the immunosuppressive drugs, sometimes which cause the symptoms like suffering from AIDS. In 15 to 20 minutes, the organs will die if the immunosuppressive agent is not taken by the patient, unable to withstand with our immune system attack. So this is how the rejection will be happening. So let us see the detail about the grafting process. Allograft transplant. Transplant from one individual to the another with a different genetic makeup within the same species. Example, kidney transplant from one person to the any other except an identical twin, that we called as a allograft, isn't it? Then isograft or syngenic graft, that is transplant between genetically identical monozygotic twins or between members of an inbred strain of animals. So that we called as a isograft. So from within the twins it should happen. Autograft, transplant from one side to the another on the same individual. Example, transplanting a blood vessel from the leg to the heart. In the bypass surgery, we will do that. Okay, cardiac bypass surgery from the leg nerve, because in the neck nerve only having the aorta nerve, so big nerve will be there. So this type of transplant does not require the immunosuppressive therapy because our own nerve, isn't it? Example, skin grafting in burns, destructive injuries, all those things will come under the autograft. Xenograft, transplant across the species barriers. Example, transplanting a heart from a baboon to a human have a very poor prognosis because of the presence of cross-species reactive antibodies that will induce the hyperacute rejection. So other grafts also is there when grafted between two different species is called the xenograft. Example, from pig to human, monkey to human, also called as a heterograft. So this is how liver transplantation and some bone marrow transplantation will be happen in the xenograft process. So this will give you the statistic on the transplantation happened in the different area. So this picture will explain very sharply and shortly about the types of grafting in our transplantation process. Now, we have seen the transplantation and types of transplantation. The next one is the rejection process. This rejection process we will see in the next video. Hope you have understood the transplantation and types of transplantation. Thank you.